Okay, so today we are going to be testing out MailerLite. So MailerLite is a relatively simple email marketing platform. It's one of the most affordable that we've reviewed. It's also one of the easiest to use. It's not quite as powerful as some of the other platforms like ActiveCampaign and HubSpot, but it is a lot more affordable in comparison. So we're going to be setting up an account, walking through some of the features, looking inside the platform so you can make a call as to whether or not it is right for you. First, though, I will touch on pricing because I think this is one of the strongest reasons why you might be looking to use MailerLite. It's, I think, primarily designed for very small businesses or beginners, and as such, the pricing is pretty affordable. So you do have a free plan. It is capped at 12,000 monthly emails and 1,000 contacts. So if you are just starting out with email marketing, that's going to be great so that you don't have to be paying straight away. But as you can see, the pricing at 1,000 contacts is still relatively affordable. And as we get up to sort of 10,000, we're still sort of looking under $100 a month. Just to put that into comparison to something like ActiveCampaign. So ActiveCampaign also aimed at small businesses, but very, very powerful, very sort of good all-round platform. As you can see, we have a lot more in the way of optimization features. It's just sort of a lot more that you kind of get with ActiveCampaign, but it is a lot more expensive. So where MailerLite was sort of $9 for 1,000 contacts, here we're looking at sort of starting on about 29. If we go up to that 10,000 point, we're looking at $100 to $200 a month, in comparison to 40 to 47 to 77. So MailerLite, very affordable, and you do get quite a lot for that. What we'll do now is we'll jump inside the platform so you can have a look at some of those features. So sign up was really easy. I've just created an account, and you can sort of see you pop in a few bits of information. There's no need to put in a credit card, which is nice. And then you'll get a verification email, and then you'll jump straight into the platform like this. So I'm pretty much going to work down the left-hand column here and just sort of talk through some of these features. I'm going to start though just by jumping ahead to subscribers because I want to import a list and just see kind of how that works. So unlike other platforms, it doesn't seem I can sort of create like sort of specific different lists, but I can create segments. So I'm just going to create a test segment just to kind of get a bit of a feel for how this works. So we can see here we've got this segment now, and I can sort of see which emails are attached to that, but it doesn't look like I can sort of import contacts directly into that segment. So what I'm going to do is click up here to add segment and just drop in a CSV file, which has got about 20 contacts in. And good. Okay, so it's automatically matched the email. It hasn't matched the name, and it hasn't matched company, but that's okay. We can just do that. And we should see that it's imported 20 subscribers. So that's nice and easy. That's worked pretty smoothly. And if I refresh it here, we can sort of see all those contacts imported. So I just want to click into a contact view to see what sort of information I have available. So it's pretty basic, if we're honest. We're really just kind of seeing how they've interacted with emails, a bit of basic subscriber information. But unlike something like a ActiveCampaign or HubSpot, which is a bit more of like a CRM, where we can see everything they've purchased, all of the interactions they've had with all the automation sequences, obviously a lot more powerful. This is very simple. So I think MailerLite is kind of a lot more geared towards if you just need a platform to send out emails or your monthly or weekly newsletters, this is fine. If you are looking to sort of use email marketing to grow the business and do some sort of slightly more involved email marketing and automation across email, SMS, that sort of thing, probably not going to be perhaps the right platform. But if we jump over to campaigns, I will go ahead and create a campaign. And really, I'm looking for two things here. I am, first of all, looking at the quality of the templates, and secondly, looking at how easy it is to edit and build a campaign. So I'm just popping in a few bits of dummy data here, and I'm just going to look at the template gallery first. So these templates look okay. I'm not blown away. I would say in the last few days, we've tested ActiveCampaign, ClickFunnels, Klaviyo, all three of those all had far better quality templates, but these aren't bad. Again, for sort of basic email marketing, these are going to be perfectly usable. But for more advanced email marketing, I would like to see a bit more. But anyway, we'll choose this template and take a look at the visual editor. So all pretty standard. It looks like I can sort of, so yeah, slightly annoyingly, I can't actually sort of edit directly here. I have to kind of jump over here. It's not not a deal breaker, but it's 2023. You should be able to directly sort of edit in line and not have to click a save button. But other than that, drag and drop is all pretty smooth. Sometimes you kind of get a bit of like jumpiness with these builders, but this seems pretty nice. But just go out of that. So on the left here, we've got all the different blocks that we can use. These are broken up. So I'm curious about e-commerce, just because that's a bit more on the advanced side of things. So we can pull in like products, listings, presumably we can kind of link that to, so we can link it to an actual product. What other blocks do we have available? So survey and quiz options. Interesting. Okay, so okay, that's quite nice. So you can add kind of questions and quizzes into the emails. I quite like that. And it looked like we had sort of surveys, social sharing, specials. So we've got accordion, events, webinars, applications, countdowns. So this is actually really nice. To give credit where it's due, this is better than some of the really kind of advanced platforms that we've tested, which often, just have like image, button, text, and a few sort of other bits and pieces. This is actually really quite good, the number of options that we've got. So I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of advanced functionality. So things like being able to conditionally display different content to different people, A/B testing directly in the content. I don't think we're going to see. We do have this hide on mobile option, which is quite nice, particularly if you've got a lot of images. That's going to kind of help keep loading times down on mobile, which is quite important. But other than that, it's relatively basic. We'd have a lot more options of what we can do using something like an active campaign. But I think, if you're using this just for basic newsletters, keeping your audience up to date, this is going to be plenty. So let's just take a look at some of the testing options so we can preview it. It looks like on desktop and mobile. I quite like the, doesn't seem to be loading. So I quite like the options where you can sort of test as different contacts. I wonder if we'll be able to do that. Yep, so we can also send a test email, which, to be honest, I always sort of find is probably the best way to test emails, is to actually look at it in your inbox, and ideally in a couple of different inboxes. So you can install Outlook, have a Gmail account, and sort of see how it looks, not just in different inboxes, but also on different devices. But yeah, okay, so we will hop out of the visual editor and jump onto the next part of the platform. It does seem to take quite a long time to load. This is sort of, a little bit slower than I'd like. So we'll have a look at forms next. So similar again, the first thing I'm kind of curious about is the templates. So it looks like we've got three options. We can have pop-ups, we can have promotions, which I imagine is sort of like going to be a little thing in the bottom corner that can jump up, and then embedded inline forms. So I'm just going to have a look at promotion to sort of understand this. Okay, so these seem to be ones that have got like a discount code or a timer. So I'm going to have a look at a limited time on. These templates do actually look quite nice, to be fair. These are far nicer, I think, design-wise than the email campaigns. So we've got a built-in timer. Looks like we can probably sort of click that and then show maybe a discount code potentially. And we've got a few different layout options, which is really nice. Yeah, that's quite good. And what can we change? We can change the background. We can change the close icon, the text. But it doesn't seem like I can sort of edit it too much more than that. There's no way that I can kind of get into the HTML or the CSS of this. There's no way I can kind of drag images, drag extra blocks. So it is a little bit limited. I do wonder if I go back, if there's an option to create like a custom one. I imagine there probably would be. If we just go back here, let's create one. Let's do a pop-up instead. So wants me to create a group. Interesting. All right, let's not do that then. Let's create another promotion, and I just want to double check, can we actually create a custom one? Okay, so it doesn't look like it. So that's worth kind of noting, is some of these forms may be a little bit on the limited side in terms of the amount of customization you're able to do, but in general, these do look reasonably good. So I think you'd definitely be able to use them. You might just have a few limitations. So if we save that and have a look at some of our triggers and visibility options. So triggers, so we can wait time-based, we can do scroll-based, and we can do exit intent. So as someone's cursor just scrolls up to close the page, we can do exit intent. We can limit the amount of times that people see them. We can set schedule. So this is all fairly standard, but also good to kind of confirm that we do have some control over who sees it and when they see it. And then in terms of implementing that, we just need to drop a code snippet onto the website. And we can see down here, there's a couple of plugins that we can use to make our lives easier. Good that we've got analytics, so we can see how those forms are performing. Yeah, obviously, if they're not performing, sort of make some changes. We can see how often they've been shown. But yeah, otherwise that all looks pretty standard. So we'll move over to, we'll do automation first, I think, and then go to have a look at the site functionality. So if I just create a test automation sequence. So as with pretty much all automation sequences, you've got triggers and you've got actions. So I'm curious to see what kind of options we have for triggers. So there's only 6, which is pretty basic. By comparison, I think when we looked at ActiveCampaign last week, we counted 135 triggers and actions. So to only sort of see 6 here is pretty limited. So we've got when someone joins a group, when someone completes a form, when they click a link, update field, anniversary of a date, and exact match of a date. So those are probably the most commonly used ones, but we're not seeing, again, similar sort of story across the board. These are sort of basic things. If you're doing basic email marketing, this is fine. If you start to want to do anything kind of a bit more advanced, you might hit a few limits. So let's just set that as our trigger and then have a bit of a play. I actually really like this user interface. I think this is really clean. It's really easy to understand. It's really easy to use. You're not going to have any issues if you have a team or a couple of people working on this. You're not going to need to kind of do training or explain how this works. It's really, I think, quite well executed. HubSpot, by comparison, trying to build automation sequences in HubSpot can be a little bit painful. You're always sort of jumping between different pages, and there's so much going on. So I quite like they've MailerLite have kept this pretty simple. Does lack a few things I'd like to see. Like I haven't yet seen anything around split testing. But again, maybe that's a bit more something that you know, as you get a bigger list, as you sort of need more functionality, you'd start to use. But yeah, so I mentioned earlier, ActiveCampaign have 135 triggers and actions. We've got 6 triggers, 6 kind of custom actions, and then 1, 2, 3. So 9. So what's that? 15 triggers and actions. So this is quite a limited platform. It is quite basic. So it's all going to come down to what do you need. Also, notably, we're not seeing anything here around SMS and push notifications. You can't do cross-channel marketing with MailerLite, but we can create these kind of drip email sequences. So I think that's probably where I'm going to leave it for now from the automation side and jump into taking a quick look at sites. So if I just go back here. Okay, so we've got landing pages and website. So let's take a look at the landing page. I imagine what we're going to see is a pretty similar builder to the email template builder, but we'll have a look. So again, these are really nice. I'm really quite impressed. Like the design quality of the landing pages look brilliant. I don't think we would need to get our designer involved if we were using MailerLite for landing pages. We would, however, need to get external design support, I think, if we were using the email campaigns. But yeah, I really like these. I think they've done a really good job on the design of the landing pages. So we'll have a look at this drag and drop editor, see how easy it is to customize these. Yeah, so it's the same sort of builder. Interestingly, you can edit directly in line here. So remember, I mentioned that I didn't quite like in the email editor that you had to like click something, edit it over here, click a save button. This is, it's just so much easier, so much more kind of intuitive to just sort of be able to click and point and drag things around. So there's some funniness, like for example, I can't drag this image and change it from sort of a left text on left to image on the left. I'm sure there is a way of doing it, but it's not intuitive. I can't sort of just click and drag. Similar here, I can't sort of just click this and move it around. I'm going to have to like edit the text. So it's not the best I've seen. We've used quite a lot of landing page builders like Unbounce and VWO, Instapage, those kind of things. It's not quite as well refined as those, but it's perfectly usable. If you just need to kind of get a quick landing page together for a promotion or a webinar or something like that, this is definitely going to do the job. But again, limited. There's not a huge amount of easy customization that we can do. I'm not seeing anything again around split testing, which is a shame because if you're running landing pages, you really want to be testing them and making sure that your landing pages are converting. So I think in general, our email marketing needs are on the more advanced side. But if I was a beginner, I think if I was on a sort of really tight budget, I would potentially start on MailerLite. But in general, I would try and probably move on to something like ActiveCampaign, just to get a bit more advanced functionality and particularly testing and optimization. Because if you want to make email marketing work and you want to get really good results from it, at a pretty early point, you want to be running a lot of tests and making sure you're getting the best possible open rates and ultimately learning. I think part of the benefit of testing is that it helps you learn and helps you improve. And if you don't have that functionality, you're not able to kind of learn and get better. So I think it's a little bit of a shame. If I am wrong, if you know that if MailerLite do actually offer A/B testing, please let me know in the comments below, because it would be a shame to critique that if it is a function, if it is a feature. But I believe I'm on I believe I have the pro functionality on this account, and I'm not seeing that. So lastly, I will just take a quick look at websites. Really, I just want to kind of get a feel for like, could I realistically use this for a basic website? Because there's quite a lot, quite a lot to sort of building websites. So let's have a quick look at maybe this one. This looks quite nice. So again, these website templates look great. I think MailerLite have done a really good job on the design front. Yeah, this is great. This is really nice. So we can see on the right here, we've got a couple of different pages. We can add a blog. We can add different pages. We can create landing pages, 404 page, password protection. Yes, this is okay. This is quite nice. I wonder about the SEO of this. I'm not sort of seeing too much in the way of outside of like page name and slug. There's not too much information, but in general, this does look pretty nice. So the last thing that I'll touch on with MailerLite is the integration. So MailerLite do have an API. So if you need to connect this up to any custom apps or any development stuff that you've built, you are able to. On the integration side, though, it's pretty limited. So MailerLite are clearly leaning quite heavily, as most email marketing platforms do, on their Zapier integration. Zapier will allow you to connect something like over 1,000 different apps into MailerLite. But it is a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes There's not a huge amount of data you can get in. Some are good. Some integrations on Zapier are good, some less good. So we've got only 5 native integrations: WooCommerce, WordPress, Facebook Audiences, MailerCheck, and Stripe. I am surprised not to see things like Shopify here. These are, well, I'd say certainly WooCommerce, WordPress, and Facebook Audiences are definitely sort of some of the like most likely to use ones. So it's good to see those there. But yeah, there's not a huge amount going on here in terms of alternatives. ActiveCampaign, you would see, I think they have something like 80 different native integrations on top of Zapier. So it is a little bit on the limited side, but yeah, obviously if you don't need too much in the way of integrations, this is likely to be fine. So I will leave it there for our tutorial of setting up MailerLite. Any questions that you have about MailerLite, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to ask them. I'll also include a link to set up a free account with MailerLite in the description below. We do earn a commission if you go through that link and end up as a paying customer. It doesn't cost any extra to you, but it does help to fund us doing these tests, doing this research. We conduct these annual reviews of email marketing platforms every single year. We have done since 2012. It takes a huge amount of work, but we really appreciate it if you are able to use those. I hope this has been useful. Any questions, let us know. Otherwise, thank you for your time. Cheers.